Hey, so this is my Rebel 1100, and I had received like several requests on Facebook last night because I had made a post about removing this charcoal canister, and I figured I'd just start out, essentially by how it works and stuff. And just for representation, just imagine like a hose being connected to this number 1 port right here. The hose is still actually on the motorcycle, but you have your fuel tank vent that runs down to this number 1 right here, and then this canister is filled full of charcoal, and this charcoal is actually supposed to like collect the vapors and kind of retain those, since it's like a porous material. And then whenever the bike's running, it's got a purge solenoid on it, and that solenoid will open up and it'll draw fresh air in, since you've got a vacuum, because it's connected to your intake manifold. That vacuum will pull fresh air in through this hose here, and then it'll pull those vapors out, and then it'll run back through this. I'm sorry, that's the drain there. It'll pull it back out through this hose here, which is the purge hose, and then that runs back to your intake manifold, and then that burns those fuel vapors so they don't go to the atmosphere or whatever, thanks to Euro 5 and all the emission standards nowadays. But either way, I don't know if that's a very good explanation or not, but that's essentially what I got from looking at the service manual and stuff, is it just pulls the fuel vapors in, collects them, and then whenever it sees fit that it wants to open that purge valve, it pulls fresh air in through, and then it sends the vapors back into the intake in through that throttle body port there. And essentially how you get to it, you just pull the seat off, which I'm sure everybody knows how to do. Then you've got a couple of push pins here for the side panels. You remove this one here. I've already removed them because, I've only got one hand right now. So you remove your side panel on both sides, and then once you've got that done, you've got two 10mm bolts right here on the fuel tank. Take those out, and then you can pop your tank up, set like a 2x4 or something underneath it, so you can get more clearance there. And then this little gem right here will be all tucked up in there, and it'll have these two 10mm bolts, which one of them's missing, but you get the point. Both of them will be there, and they'll be like up under here where the tank is, like not on the tank, but once the tank's propped up, you'll see them down there. And you take those two bolts out, and that'll take this whole bracket assembly loose. And then eventually on the other side, I'll get to it where the purge solenoid is. It'll be mounted right here, but I've got it off, because I've got it on the motorcycle right now. But you just take these two nuts loose, and that purge solenoid will pull off. And coming around to the other side, this is the purge solenoid itself. I just disconnected the hoses off of it, and I just left it, hooked up so it wouldn't throw a code. You can zip tie it, do whatever you want, just as long as it's hooked up, so that the bike, still thinks it's there, but it's actually not functioning. And then this right here, this little panel, it just pops off, 2 clips, top and bottom. Can't really mess it up. And there's a line right here, and that line is actually that fuel tank vent hose that runs down to the charcoal canister, and it's this hose that's right here. And I've still got it hooked up. Eventually I'm going to put like a check valve on it, so that if the bike ever tips over or something, it won't spill gas out everywhere. And I want to extend the hose down, but for right now I was just working with what I had, so I just left that hose on there. And then now it can vent straight to atmosphere because there's no restriction. So And then after you get like this hose disconnected from the charcoal canister, and then you've got this right here, the solenoid off of it, the hose is disconnected, and then you've got the two 10mm bolts up top. The only other thing you'll have is a drain tube, which is this long skinny tube right here. This will actually be tucked down here, runs down the frame, and then it'll dump out down here with all these hoses. And I just pulled it up and out and got it out of there. And then the last one you'll have is this little hose right here that's on the throttle body. You'll pull that out with the charcoal canister, and once that is removed, you can just kind of, you know, it's pretty tight, but you can just kind of finagle it, and then it'll come out. And then what I did, for now, eventually I'll get a vacuum cap, but right now I just took that little hose off of the charcoal canister and I just stuck a bolt in it, you know, just trying. You just want to keep it from having a vacuum leak on your throttle body or from sucking any dirt in. So I got that all capped off. And as far as like the way the bike's running, it runs completely different for me. I don't know if that was because this air hose right here was all kinked up, you know, because it was pretty kinked up here where it was installed. I don't know if it was because of that, or if it just has something to do with, you know, preventing or restricting a little bit of the fuel flow by partially vapor locking it or something. But I know that hesitation that I was having, like above, you know, 4 grand or something like that, it just goes now. So I don't know if that's just coincidence or not, but either way, I'm not a professional, so I just figured I'd help some guys out. And if you know, don't feel comfortable doing it, or you don't want to really void your warranty, I probably wouldn't do this, but that's just my bike. I didn't want it on it, so, and it made it run better. So, but if you do want to try it, maybe this will help you. And I'm also not gonna, you know, be liable for any damage you guys might cause or something. I don't know. But I hope this helps you out, and I hope you guys have a nice day.